need to sit in the middle. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's my right hand side.
Sorry.
Nimepeleka msupa wapi?
Hello everyone. How are you? Tufanye hivi kama wanasiasa, tafadhali nisalimie kama unaniona. Welcome to the vlogger space. Tuko sawa. As you can see, we have a very powerful panel here. Wacha tuseme ladies first, please. Aziad, please introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello. I'm Aziad Nasenya. I'm a journalist by profession. I'm a radio presenter. I'm an actor. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also a content creator.
Brian.
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Mutinda. I'm a creative director, influencer, content creator.
Kimanzi.
Hello. My name is Brian Kimanzi. I'm an advertising mogul and a content creator and consultant.
Frankie.
Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Frankie. I'm a fitpreneur and content creator.
Thank you so much. Nami naitwa Jemole Mse. I'm a content creator and a radio presenter. Thank you so much for coming to hear what these people have to say about the industry. Sisi tumekuwa hapo kwa hiyo vlogger space. Tumekuwa tukitengeneza brands. Everyone here, they've also monetizing. I want to discuss how that journey has been. And I want to throw this question first to Mr. Mutinda. Please tell us, ulianza kufanya nini? Did you start this journey by accident, or was it ulipanga ukafika mpaka mahali uko?
For me, it's quite interesting. Yes, I think I started by accident. Just when all these social platforms had become a thing. That's from around early 2014, 2015. So I happened to be free with a lot of time. I wasn't busy, and there was, all these Instagrams and Twitter that were coming up. So I just started interacting with them as a hobby, as a pastime, because I was still in campus. And then eventually now, I realized I could monetize some of it, and that's how I came to being.
Thank you so much, Aziad. COVID and everything.
Funny thing is that people never know the success. People only know, what is the song that Sauti Sol sang? They never know the glory before, they never know the story before the glory. So a lot of people knew me after the glory, which was 2020, the viral video that I did.
Yes.
But I started content creation immediately after my Form 4. That was like in 2018.
Good
That
stuff.
is when I began, 2018, 2019.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bwana Kimanzi, please tell us your story.
Well, I think around the same time with Brian, around 16, 17. Yeah, but over time now you get to improve your craft, because when you start it, you're testing it as a hobby, and then people start approaching you to want to work with you and monetize. So then you see the potential in this field. You're like, oh, you mean if I put more effort in this craft and upgrade my value, I can get monetization from it. And yeah, it's been a glorious journey since then. And here we are still doing it and talking about it, which I think is beautiful.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jimit,
Yes.
please tell us.
So for me, it started around 2014, and I was doing it to promote my business, because I'd just come back to Kenya and I was thinking, okay, how can I market myself the best way? And I'd just come from the UK, so social media was already like rampant there. So when I came here, I had that mindset of, social media marketing. So when I started, I was like, okay, how do I make myself stand out? So I was doing a lot of content like topless, and people were like, who the hell is this guy showing his body and all that? Because it was so, Kenya was such a conservative country at that time still. So it kind of like got things running. And then from there, brands started reaching out and then started monetizing it, and it just quickly transformed into what it is now.
Yeah. You've mentioned something very interesting about brands reaching out. Na watu wengi ushanga nitaanza tu kufanya content, people always wonder at what point will brands reach out. Aziad, I want you to weigh in on this and tell us, what is it that somebody needs to start doing before they can start monetizing their content? Like, ukianza ni nini itafanya ujulikane ndio brands ianze kusema, hey, can you come and do something for us? And I will also run this question across, because we all have different stories, and people need to hear, what do you need to do to create that brand?
Before brands approach you, because the end goal is people need to monetize, people want to make money. Brands look for brands they can trust. So what kind of a brand are you building? How do you present yourself to the public? How do you portray yourself? What kind of content do you want to create? What kind of brands do you want to work with as an individual? Because as a brand, there are brands that you can work with depending with your morals, and there are brands that you cannot work with depending with your morals.
Yeah, I want to cut you short and ask before, because you know most people when they're starting, they're not even thinking brands.
Yes.
You start doing content, you start making people laugh, or you start creating educative content, or you start creating entertainment content. But not many people know that I really want to monetize. So how do you build your brand yourself? Like, what things do you do?
You create content, you be consistent, make sure your content is quality, make sure your camera is wiped, it's clean. Before you know it, numbers will start coming in, and then you'll just consistency. I can say consistency is it. Create content, be consistent, be patient.
Kimanzi.
I'd say the same, but there are people who it's two ways. One, there's always be consistent in what you do, because if you create a brand, you're able, if a brand wants to approach you, they see, oh, so you've already been doing something. So if we back you up, you're not like steering you away from what you do. You already have a pattern, and there's what you do. Because there's that consistency and never stopping. But there are also people who have been lucky enough to just have a few videos and get brands to work with them. So it's for them to decide whether they can be consistent with the work, or because we've seen people come viral, get brands, and disappear. And again, goes back to you being consistent. You got lucky with one or viral video, but you are not consistent with what you are doing, compared to someone who's tried to do the same or try and rebrand, also try and build a brand over time. So consistency, of course, hard work, and also just building a brand for yourself and creating value for yourself first before people put value in you. So that way, you'll not have a problem working with people.
Yeah, Frankie, I want to ask you a question because I've followed you for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you start creating content of things that makes you happy, or things that interest you, or you can just scale up and say, mi nitaka kutengeneza content ya mafundi, then you just go with it and see ati wewe unataka kuwa fundi ama nini. But for example, your gym content, your fashion content, how did you start? Because of interest, passion, ama ulitaka tu yani kukaa fiti?
So it's the same thing what they were talking about, consistency, right? In order for you to be consistent, you have to love what you're doing, right? So when I'm creating the content, I'm creating content which I love doing. So fitness is part of my lifestyle. And then that's the main thing, that's the core of it. And then from there, we look at what are the, happening trends. Is it dancing? Is it funny content? Is it informative content? And then I base my fitness content around that. So yes, I'm doing fitness, but I'm going to make it funny. Yes, I'm doing fitness, but I'm going to make it about dancing or information. So your core has to be something that you're passionate about before you start doing it. And that's what he was mentioning about someone can come, become famous, and then fade away. That's because you're not passionate about it. You saw someone else doing it. Oh, I saw Asia dancing, let me start dancing. And you do it, and then after a while, you're just like, okay, this video got 1 million views, and then the rest are getting 1,000. So you're like, okay, this is boring, let me move on to something else. You move on to something else, it doesn't spark the same way as the first video, and so on and so forth. But if you're passionate about something, you're more likely to hang on for a bit longer. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Brian, najua kuna platforms mingi sana za social media, but I remember your Twitter. Tell us, how do you pick a platform? Do you just start on any platform, or do you say, I want to specialize in this platform and become the best on that platform? And I also pass the same question to Aziad, because of I want us to discuss emerging platforms and how they are impacting content creation in our country.
Yeah, I think it's key to understand that different platforms have serve different purposes, have different audiences, and with different audience, then that helps you. That guides you in terms of how you are going then to communicate to these people. For example, Twitter is very conversational in that you have real-time talk over there. If something is happening right now, like for example this, you are able to discuss this story at the same time with the panel. So Twitter is good with the conversations. If you want to do content that's a bit visual, Instagram is the platform, right? Because there you can do video content, you can put music, all these challenges, fashion and stuff like that. So the key thing is to map out the platforms, understand the audience, the different people that you reach on these different platforms. Sometimes it's also important to develop different personalities for different platforms. You can't be the same throughout the platforms. You can't be the same guy on Twitter you are on Instagram. You have to tweak some things to be relatable to this audience, and that really helps in terms of even when we're working with brands, we're able to tell some of them, yeah, I know you guys want to run a TikTok campaign, but this is best for me and my audience. It's best suited on Instagram. And through that, through you knowing your audience, then you're able to deliver some tangible success in terms of metrics for the clients that you work with.
Yeah, Aziad, I want you to tell us about these emerging platforms, because like for me, I would say someone like me, your content pulled me to TikTok, for example, to come and say, hey, there kuna platform ingine and people are doing this. Could you please tell us something about these emerging platforms and how they are shaping the content business in Kenya?
The emerging platforms, I can say the latest one I think is TikTok.
Yeah.
If there's another I am not aware of. That is the thing with content creation, or rather with social media. Today, TikTok might be the thing, but 5 days later, there's something else that's going to come up. So as a content creator, you need to be flexible. You need to be able to adapt, because then that is what is going to make you be in the game for longer. Because I remember when TikTok was beginning, people were like, I cannot join TikTok. It's for kids. But right now, every brand is going to TikTok. Every individual is going to TikTok. So I feel like as a content creator, you need to put yourself in a place where you need to be flexible. The internet is changing right now. Twitter want individuals to pay for the blue tick. Before you know it, Facebook is going to want something. Before you know it, someone else is going to come up with another app. So as a content creator, are you flexible enough to move into that new app and blend in with what happens with that new app? Because what happens on TikTok is so different from these platforms that have been there for a while. On what you post on Instagram might not do well on TikTok. What you post on TikTok will not do well on Twitter and Facebook and so on. So I'd say you just need to be flexible. What is the word? The word is not coming, but it's just flexible. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, most of the times people see the nice photos on Instagram, nice photos on Facebook, nice videos on TikTok, but nobody knows the challenges that content creators go through, like from production, from creating the content. Kimazi, I would like you to weigh on this and say, what are the challenges that you went through to create your brand? And I'll put this question to everyone, because I know the challenges are different, so that people can hear that journey. What yani nini tunakuanga tukipitia?
Yani challenges umeona uanze na mimi.
Yes.
Well, it's been a journey, of course. Like what Aziad said, you don't know the story before the glory. It's for challenges. There's money challenges first when you're starting, equipment, and we're in a country where, for let's say content creation and entertainment, we are not at the level where like Western world is. So case example, trying to collaborate or shoot in different locations is a problem because people don't understand what you're doing first. So even getting the perfect places to shoot, that's why now we have people building spaces like Selfie Village where allows people to come and create content for themselves. Now we at least have accommodative spaces. If you look back 3 years, you'd even want to go shoot in a hotel or shoot in a place, but you have to explain via proposals, emails, which can take a week or two, and you're like, this is too tiring. I'm not, like, now you see, you still believe like, no, let me push it, but you're not very encouraged by the surroundings. But if you are passionate about it, you're like, no matter what, even if it means me creating under a tree, I'll try my best and do something spectacular under a tree. I don't need the best accommodations and all that, or the best locations. Yeah, and then of course people get disappointed, like if you try and propose to different brands and they don't come through. Some people get to feel like they are not being appreciated, or they're not being able to do what they want with brands. And that's a challenge as well. Or again, money issue. When you're starting, you don't have, like, when you're fresh, you don't have money off it, and you still need to, like, get equipment that can shoot. Even if it's a simple phone, you still want to look good, maybe outfits or just different things, lighting. So money factor can come, like in any business, but it's how you maneuver around it. Yeah, and also over time, when you do this thing over time, some challenges become inspiration. So like, I'd forget some of the challenges I faced 3 years ago or 2, because I've overcome them, and now I only know of the success of it.
Yeah. Frankie?
Yeah, so there's so many different challenges, but for me personally, I'd say it's the equipment part of things. I remember when I first started off, shooting content was so hard for me, because obviously you don't have the right phone for it, and then you don't have equipment as well. So what I did was, I had a client of mine who run a studio, and I just traded with him. I told him, look, I'll train you for free, but just allow me to be coming to your studio and be able to use your equipment, teach me how to edit, teach me how to do everything content-based, right? So that's how I started learning how to edit my own videos, how to do YouTube and all that. Because at that time I was editing YouTube, it would take me 2-3 days to edit. Now I can do it in like 30 minutes. But I had to start somewhere. That was my biggest frustration. But good thing is, actually, that studio was where I shot my first gig. So it allowed me to expand and be able to get companies to come to notice me and be able to reinvest in myself. So now that I can afford it, the first thing that I did was cut out that problem. I ended up, I've actually recently just opened up my own studio. I have all the equipment I need, so there's no, I can't deliver this work because I don't have the right equipment. Right now, equipment or location is out of the question. That's something that I've already covered, I've sorted out. So there's different problems for different people, but for me, I know my mind is full of ideas, and I need to remove those ideas, and I need the perfect equipment for me to showcase those ideas.
Yeah, Azia.
Challenges. To be honest, I have not had major challenges. My challenges are more of balancing between the platforms, what time to post. Sometimes it gets overwhelming. Sometimes you have creative block, and I would suggest if you have creative block, it's always okay to just take a step back, relax, focus on yourself, binge watch what people are doing. You can get inspiration from that. I feel like getting a management or having a management and a whole team that is around me most of the time makes most of this thing is easy, so I do not face as much challenges, because even with dealing with brands, the management communicates with brands and everything.
And what about when you were starting?
When I was starting,
yeah,
my aunt gave me a good phone as a present,
yeah.
So I think lighting was the only problem, and I was free pretty much of the day, so I'd use the sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian.
I think one of the challenges that we face is social media. Is the concept of social media influencing is fairly new. I know it's been 5, 6, 7 years for some platforms, TikTok maybe 2. But yeah, it's a challenge that we face every day because not everyone understands what we do. So someone wants to work with you, but they don't really know how to, and they don't. Some people might not give you the leeway to educate them, tell them. So this is how you do things. So someone comes and just tells you, I have this budget, I need a video. And you're looking at it, seeing different ways that you can, actually offer more value instead of, being boxed in that, and that becomes a challenge. I think the other challenge would be, as everyone apart from Aziad has mentioned, the equipment, the money part of it. It's fairly expensive in terms of production, and most people don't usually factor that when they are reaching out for services. So you find you're supposed to spend in order to create, but some of it you might need to get from the money that you charged for yourself. So slowly by slowly, people are beginning to understand, but there's still some leeway to make some changes to ensure that, as creatives, all our issues have been understood, especially by the potential clients.
Yeah. Thank you. And please keep registering your questions. Tutafika mahali mutauliza maswali ambazo sitakuwa nimeuliza watu. I want us to face the elephant in the room. So you've created a brand, everyone knows you, and people are calling you Aziad, they are calling you Frankie, Kimanzi, Brian, Jemo, hey. Then you don't have anything. Because I'm seeing a lot of young people facing that monster. So a lot of people know you, but you're not monetizing. You don't have anything. So you only have your content. So the journey to monetization, how has it been, and what has been the learnings, and how, for example, how do you know how to price your craft? Like when you're charging a brand or somebody or a client, how do you say, I'm going to charge you 50,000, 100,000, a million, 3 million, all those kind of things. So I would like us to start again from Kimanzi, ambia watu hii mambo ya monetization, because we have so many people from high school level, campus, people who are working, and you can see they are trying to create something, very interesting content, but monetization.
Where? Anyway, so like for monetization, from a personal experience first, when you start, especially like back then when like 4 years ago, 5, we didn't know how much money there'd be or how much you'd make of it. So at first, I think it's, if by a case example, someone says they're paying you 50,000, they're like, oh, so I can get 50K off this. Then you start working around that figure until another client comes and you're like, we have 150. You're like, kumbe tunaweza ongeza.
Yes.
Then you start thinking of the terms. Now you've moved from the scale of 50, now you're working towards 100, 150 there, you're like operating like that. Then now you start looking at now how much business am I bringing in and what is the profit margin for myself. If I consider everything, I've done pre-production, then you're like, then maybe this is now the rate I can work with. Then you start building on that. Now you're like, let me add a little bit more because I want to expand the business. Let me expand, let me add 50K on top. Then slowly by slowly now you start getting to levels where now it always takes the first check. If you get the first check as $1 million, you'll never look at anything below $1 million unless you want to consolidate just because of personal reasons. If you start with 20K, 10K, you see you already have a benchmark. Then you're able to build on that. I get so many calls, DMs, people asking me how to build a rate card. Then I tell people the simplest way is now see what you're putting into what you're doing, whether it's money or it's just effort. First, how much does that cost you? Then you're able to build from that. Then you now look at what is the market rate for this? How will I be able to gauge what I need to pay? Then if we are doing that, even back then we had even the very simplest formulas. Itanilipia rent. If my rent is 20K, at the bare minimum I need 30, because I need to pay my rent and also enjoy the money even a bit. So if you're able now to start gauging from that level, you'll always find a base, then now you're able to build on it.
Frankie?
So it's a tricky situation because I feel like in our industry, people don't talk. We never talk to each other and just say, hey, how much are you getting for this gig?
True.
Yeah, so it's like a taboo to talk about how much you're making. So it's kind of hard to be able to gauge what you're supposed to charge. But personally, what I usually do is I have, when I'm coming up with a rate card, because there's a difference between coming up with a rate card and then a company approaching you and telling you this is what we have, or the campaign's going to be this long, and then you have to customize it based on that. So the rate card is just something short term. Hey, I want you to post this poster, blah, 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 right? So when it comes to that, I just create what I'm comfortable doing, right? So if I know I need, production costs and all that, I factor that in, and then I come up with a rate for that. So let's say I can say 50K per post. But when it comes to a full campaign, you look at the duration, you look at if they want exclusivity, you look at if they're looking at you as a brand ambassador or an influencer. There's so many things to consider. Then based on that, you can now be able to come up with an actual range around it. But yeah, it's still hard, and it depends on also your level of, if you're really famous, if you're really hot at that time, or if you're kind of dying down. So it's a whole bunch of trends that matter, but I think that's the best way you can look at it.
Yeah, Ziad, as you on this, first of all, congratulations on your new government appointment. So I would also, because I know you guys have had a series of meetings, even as the government people. So I want you to weigh in as a content creator, and also what you guys, probably you can give us a sneak peek of what you guys are doing to improve the lives of content creators from that end.
At the moment I'm here as a content creator, I cannot really talk about that at the moment, but it is in the works. Yeah.
Okay.
But when napikwa jikoni, as a content creator, most of them, they have said most of the things that you can consider while coming up with a rate card. What I'd say is how you charge for a post is not how you charge for a video. How you charge for a 1 minute video is not how you charge for a YouTube video, because that's like 30 minutes. It takes longer to edit. There's something I'm forgetting. Yes. It depends again. How long does this brand want to work with you? For example, if you charge 50,000 a post, and this is a brand that wants to work with you for the next 10 months, then you can definitely negotiate a little bit. And then how you charge small businesses is not how you charge high-end businesses, and it is not how you charge international businesses. So if you're coming up with a rate card, add advice. And I've been to meetings and I have sat down with content creators from different places in the world, and I can say content creators in Kenya, we are paid little money. Like Frankie said, if we would be able to talk about these conversations and share openly, okay, how much are you paid? Then maybe we would come up with a price and be like, you know what, as a content creator, do not accept anything below this amount. Then, because these brands have money, then it would let them know that, you know what, ukitafuta content creator yoyote washambiana, no one is taking less than 20,000 Kenyan shillings. So you should come up with a rate card for small businesses, for this average businesses, for high-end businesses, the ones that like the likes of Kina Safaricom and so on, and also international businesses. And for international businesses, always charge in USD or euros, whichever.
Brian, tell us something. Hiyo mambo ya pesa ndio inaleta utatanishi sana.
I think the question was, how do you start monetizing? So that's the hardest part. The hardest part is starting. So what I usually tell people is, first thing you need to do is create a portfolio. portfolio is someone will approach me at a random place, maybe in a club, and tell me, Manzi, I can do this. Me bigger content. Me as a bigger content. And how can I get gigs? And I give them a very. Then you ask them, which kind of content do you want to create? They're like, I can do fashion, I can do all these things. You ask them, have you ever created? No, but I can. So the simplest thing is, that person is probably wearing nice outfit or nice shoes. So you already, if you wanted to create fashion content, you're already wearing the clothes. So what can you do with this outfit that you're wearing? Because based on that, then you're able to approach this fashion brand and tell them, this is my portfolio, this is what I've been able to create, this is what I can do for you. Then after you've shown your portfolio, you've created a couple of videos that now you can use to sell yourself. The next thing is to quantify your efforts and your work. Look at what's going into this whole process, how much does that cost? How much does your time cost? And then based on that, you're able to come up with a rate, probably a reasonable rate. And then now based on that, once you bag that first serious client, now everything I think becomes easier from there, because now you continue again building a portfolio by all these partnerships, and new brands will reach out to you based on what you've been doing. So it's very important to always have fresh content going on your page, and then you grow from there.
Thank you. There's a growing fear in the industry that brands can kill content creators, because and it's a challenge most people are facing, because the brands come, whatever amount they are giving, they'll tell you, you need to create the content like this. Yet you are the creator. You understand? Because I haven't seen them going to TV and telling them, today we will run your ad during the news, and we want the news to be like this today. So today don't talk about people dying, about maandamano. We want some soft news so that our ad can be there. So I want you guys to weigh on this, because I know a lot of brands are putting pressure on content creators, and then we are forced. You see somebody going away from what their brand is because we are chasing the paper. So Frankie, I want you to start that conversation. Alafu tusikie. Nataka hiyo maoni.
Yeah. Actually, I've been through, a couple of brands like that. But I think brands should also understand that they're approaching you because of the style of posting that you do, right? You created that following because of how you post your content. And I think brands are coming from, the normal traditional way of marketing, right? Where you create an advert and you put it on the TV and it's supposed to be like this, like that. Or you create a poster and you put it onto a billboard and that's how it's supposed to look like. But influencer marketing is totally different. The audience is buying into me first. So they know Frankie uses this product and I like Frankie, so I'm going to use it. They're not saying this product is dope and then Frankie is using it, so I'm going to use it. So I come first. And how I create that content matters. I should be able to create it the way my audience is used to seeing my content.
How do we overcome that? Because a brand will tell you, we are not approving your content. Because I want us to hear on that, because who should approve the content? Is it the content creator, or is it the brand who is telling you to advertise their product?
I think the content creator, and these are conversations I usually have beforehand. I always ask for creative freedom, and if I find it being too strenuous, I've pulled out of a couple of campaigns because of that.
Kimanzi.
I thought I'd be last. It's been an issue that's happened. We've seen it happen. We've experienced it, where brands just want, because they're giving you the money, they want, customer, the customer is always right. They want what they perceive as the campaign to be, what is the output, but they're approaching you on an individual level, like Frankie has said. So the best part is to find a balance where both of you benefit of the content. If the brand wants X and X factored in, you also want what you perceive as your content factored in. So if you're able to marry the two, because that's the challenge people face. Like if you're doing comedy and you're told to work with a brand that is not for comedy, you'll need to find a balance where you show the seriousness of the brand maybe a bit, but keep your comedy intact. If you're doing fashion, how can you balance fashion and the brand you're doing? If you're doing just creative content, how are you able to finding a balance? Because of course finding a balance comes with you trying working different brands and also over time. Because the first few times you'll get excited getting the brands and you want to please them so that you get the money, because money plays a big factor in anything you do. So if you're able to get a brand that is paying you at the first time, you'll be like, wow, let me do my level best so that I'm able to get this money fast. But as you keep going, you'll now need to find out, because if you notice most creators, the first thing when they get a brand, this is when you notice this what you asked isn't like, I followed you because you cracked that jokes. So now you're advertising something, you're not doing the jokes the way we are used to them. Because even as an influencer, the individuals as well as a content creator, they're trying to understand how to best do it. And also there's pressure coming from someone paying. So if you are given 1 week to do it and you need 1 week to craft your stuff, you might not find the perfect balance. But with time, as you're able to build the brand that you are, brands now want to factor in and come to do what I've had many clients tell me, wewe fanya kile tu utafanya, tunakuaminia, which I find is worse pressure than just doing things peacefully. Because now you've been able to create a brand for yourself, and other brands like see that and they're like, wow, okay, let's find a way where we can come into what he does instead of now the reversal like Frankie was saying. So
Aziad, how do you deal with it?
I guess now I can say that is one of the challenges that I face. Brands are different. Different brands will want different things. Just like Imanzi said, skincare is different from certain things. There are clients who will come to you and be like, I want you to dance. And you're like, this thing will not work with dancing. Yeah. Some of them will understand it and be flexible to try and change it. But what I always say is one thing that will help you as a creative is always ask for brief meetings about the campaign, so that you sit down with the team and the brand, they explain to you what the campaign is going to be about. Then from that brief, you will decide as an individual, okay, is this something that I want to be part of? Is this something that I don't want to be part of? Sometimes you'll have to compromise. You won't be strong with your not really morals, but there are a few things you can compromise. Maybe they'll be like, I don't want you to wear pink because you like wearing pink. You can wear black. That you can say, okay, that is something I can make. But if they start asking for things that you know very well are impossible for you to do, they will go against your brand morals, and that's why you'll be like, you know what, thank you, this is a nice opportunity, but adios. So yeah.
Brian, tuambie maoni yako.
I think I forgot to mention when we were talking about challenges. I think, this is one of the challenges, and how I would phrase it is getting the right brands to work with. Sometimes most creatives, by most I mean myself, we are driven by money, because let's be honest, the industry isn't that big. So when someone comes to you and they have the right budget, you tend to compromise a lot, and we all know the brands that will fit perfectly with our audiences, but sometimes either you might want to reach out to them, they might not get back, you end up working with whoever has the budget, whoever has money. So when you do that, now this challenge arises because you find your brand and theirs are not really aligned. So you find you're having to compromise a lot in terms of even how you communicate to your people, how you present yourself. The content really doesn't sound like you. And when you try to pull the brands towards your side, most of them will tell you this is how we like to do our thing. So the best thing will be, first of all, for most of our brands here in Kenya, to normalize whenever a creative reaches out with a proposal, You find most of them take advantage of that situation and want to undercut you because when umetutafuta, it's totally opposite of when they reach out to you. Now you have the bargaining power. But if they can, allow us to shoot our shot, right, this is the proposal, this is the budget, because this is how I feel you can work together. I think that will help in terms of selling brands as opposed to just working with the brands that you have on the table, because really you don't have much options.
Yeah. Kuna kitu ingine sana inasumbua watu. You start creating content, then all of a sudden you become a celeb. Like everyone knows you. Then we have seen young people wanakuja, mtu wana create, akishakuwa celeb, the quality of content start going down. Probably they start even doing other things that start pulling them down because they can't handle the newfound status. How do you guys, and I want to start with you, Aziad, like for example, when that video went viral and everybody knew about you and they're coming to your platform and you're being called for these meetings, you're being called for these interviews, every Kenyan is talking about you. Then how do you deal with it so that that newfound celeb status does not become destructive? What do you do? And I also pose that question to everyone to tell us what they do so that you can remain authentic with your brand, remain authentic to yourself, your people and everyone, and you can keep doing the big things that you're doing.
I say this a lot. I am a prayerful person. And I always believe that without God, I wouldn't be Aziad, I wouldn't even be here in the first place. So I think that is very important because I always say God cannot give you more than what you can handle. God only gives you what you can handle. And I'm not going to lie, it gets overwhelming because, especially for me, speaking for myself, I have radio, I have to act, I have to go to school, I have to come, I have to go to meetings, I still have to create content. It gets overwhelming. But again, I always say this, as a creative, it is good to have a team. It does not have to be a team that you look for and employ. It can be even that friend of yours that maybe if you get a gig of 10,000, you give them even 500 or 1,000 bob. It can be somebody. That is why it is important to have people around you who will help you manage all these things, especially if you have hit to those levels, because there's only so much that an individual can do. If you have these people, there'll be one person who will be reminding you, hey, you haven't posted for 2 days, now we need to create content. There's gonna be someone else who will tell you, okay, this is what is trending, so immediately you leave radio, this is what you can do, you can create content on this, we're gonna help you, we'll edit, we'll post on your behalf in case your day will be busy. So I'd say again, having people around you who have the best interests at heart and people who you can work together will keep you on track because they will remind you about all these things. But kama uko peke yako, there's only so much you can handle.
Brian, how do you deal with it?
Ya kwanza, usiache kitu kuingia kwa kichwa. Don't let that thing get into your head. And then the next thing is just stay focused, consistent, just continue doing what you were doing. Like, yes, that has come, but don't change things. If you continue doing what you're doing, if you keep the focus and you don't let fame get into your head, you'll be in the game for a long time.
Frankie?
Yeah, so I guess have a team. They've pretty much said exactly what I was thinking. Have a team and just remain focused. Thankfully for me, mine didn't just come abruptly. It's something that I gradually, got into it. Took me about 5-6 years for me to be able to enter that. And it's always good to understand that what is happening on social media is actually not real life. I understand that sometimes you can become famous and then it feels like everyone's eyes are on you. It can actually mess with your mental health as well. So just understand whatever people are saying on social media or talking about you, it can be good, it can be bad. Don't let it get to you because the good can always get to you. Also the bad can always get to you. So too much of anything is not good enough. So just learn how to filter that.
Kimanzi?
Usikue tu msee ule wa unajua mimi ni nani. Simple.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, but everyone individually has a way they handle themselves, especially if you're getting to certain levels. Just like the way you used to handle when you're born into a homestead before you start knowing your neighbors, everyone know you just comfortable with people in your house, then slowly the near neighbors, then friends. As you grow up, the community around you also grows. So it's the same thing, like even when you're starting, maybe you just started, you and someone around you, your friend, your sibling or someone, not many people know about you, but now as you keep posting, you get a bigger community. So I say the simplest thing, stay principled. How you acted and how you started can guide you in the long term if you're able to stay with your principles and don't let it get into your head, so that way you are able to be like, you find people, mtu atakupata jemo akwambia unakuanga humble. It's not because you are humble because of who or what you've gotten, but that's who you've been from the word go. You didn't start you weren't arrogant and then because now you are famous you're humble. It's those simple principles that you've lived by. And of course, if you grow up in a good environment and everyone around you makes you feel like, yeah, at the end of the day, you're still human. You can't be a superhero.
Yeah, thank you. Before we wrap up and we get the questions from the audience, a big shout out to Kenya Film Commission for organizing this. I want to ask you, what do you guys want such bodies like KFC and the government, the private sector, what, according to you, because we understand the industry, we've been running it, we know the challenges, we know where we want to go, we know what we want to achieve. What would you like such statutory bodies and even the private companies to do so that our industry would incorporate more people and it would be a fully fledged industry that would put Kenya on the global map? Please, let's start from here, Ziad.
I'd say professionalizing content creation. It needs to be taken seriously as a career, because I feel like it is not. A lot of people do not understand it. You go to certain places and you say you do content creation and people will look at you like, it needs to be professionalized. And also, because there's a place I went to and I wasn't given something because I'm not a lawyer or an accountant, because I'm a content creation and they do not know if they do not trust a content creator because I might not be eligible.
So accreditation.
Yes.
Thank you,
yes.
thank you.
So I would say professionalizing content creation.
Yes. Brian?
For me, it's more collaboration. Say KFC, you see that's films. We are also doing film in a way, but you find there's no much collaboration between us and some of, like, we want to be involved more, we want to work together. Yeah, so that's the only way we'll grow this creative industry, if we work together, so more collaboration.
Frankie?
Wache kututax.
No, we need to build the nation.
Yeah, digital tax.
But yeah, I mean, I think we need to be a little bit, I get it's a security risk to be able to shoot anywhere, but I feel like the freedom for us to be able to move around with our equipment, with our cameras, there's so many places that have been stopped and just like, yo, you cannot shoot here, you cannot do this, and you're missing out that raw content. And it's something that's going to definitely help our industry. I can go to the national park and I'm being told don't shoot. That in itself on promoting tourism, so we should just be a little bit more lenient on the places that we can shoot. And if we are, recognized as a proper professional, then obviously, definitely we can be able to do those type of things in different areas.
Kimanzi?
Other than what has been said, I feel also invest in creators. That way you're able to have, when you make it professional, you collaborate with them, you give them support, and also invest. That way it will be, the entire industry grows. We all hold each other's hands and grow together, because if the film industry is winning, we are all winning. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I want to open the floor to utaki watu waulize maswali. Kuna mtu hapa ananiambia hataki ulize maswali. So I want to ask for closing remarks from all our panelists so that they can tell us tunaendelea wapi, tunasonga wapi. Other things, for example, what are they thinking will be other platforms of monetizing our content other than just going to brands, because I don't feel it's sustainable to build a full-time career out of just depending on brands. So I would like to hear interesting remarks, closing remarks, on how we will push our industry to achieve, to go to the next level. Let's start from the far end.
Closing remarks.
Yes.
I feel like sikuwa nimejipanga. Anyway, platforms like this are able to expand the industry, one, where we're able to talk about it, talk about our struggles, also our achievements, and what people can look up to. So I do believe it's fair that we are able to have many more of this, where we can also collaborate with the statutory bodies that will help bring content to a level where you can put, like, as I was saying, when you enter a place, maybe you might not be considered as important because of the title content. Same way, like, if we had musicians here, you'd be like, okay, they are musicians. If you have actors, they're actors. Like any other profession, a doctor, a lawyer, it is that. So, and also part of us to show that it actually, the reason many people nowadays are looking up to it is because we've shown it works, and people have seen, like, yes, there is money in it. I've seen this person's art, I've seen them work with brands, I've seen them build a business, I've seen them open a business. So if you're able to show it in full, like, it's not a side hustle, it's something that can actually build you, and we've seen many people achieve from it. So yeah, closing remarks is just make it professional as much as possible.
Thank you so much, Kimanzi. Frankie?
I'd say it's something that it's an amazing thing that we're able to have this platform right now and be able to talk about our experiences, so that someone out there can learn something from it. It's something that can also help us create a lot of, work and careers within our industry. Because as you said, we don't have to be running to the brands every time. We can be able to create other platforms or other streams of revenues within our industry. We can have, we can become consultants as well. You can open up a studio which can help your fellow influencers, rent out equipment. So there's so many other ways that our industry can benefit from having this type of conversation. So I think we should continue with this, have more of them, and be able to grow from there.
Ziad?
First of all, I'd like to thank KFC for this opportunity. It's been an amazing one. I always say there's enough space for everyone to shine. Just because Frankie and everyone else is on the internet, it does not stop you from being on the internet and doing your own content creation. Everyone has their own mojo, and content creators should be able to continue learning, because things keep on changing. You need to keep on evolving as an individual. And if there are master classes, search forums, I feel like they should be attending, because there's something that I knew that Brian did not know. There's something that Brian knows that I've just heard right now. I'm like, okay, it actually makes sense. And I formed a company last year called Synergy Point, and tomorrow we're going to be hosting a masterclass. It's going to be a full day from 9 a.m. till 4 a.m. We're going to be talking about this. We're going to be having a lot of people who've worked in the content creation space for a while, and also agencies who've worked with brands. So if you're a content creator, if there's anybody who's interested in coming to join the forum, you could do that. Yeah.
Brian?
Mine, first of all, to thank KFC and Kalasha for this platform, giving us a platform to talk about things beyond content, and also, having a great audience. Secondly, is an appeal to the government, and it's a good thing Ziad is here. I'm not telling you to comment on anything, but we are appealing to the government to monetize these platforms. This is what's been done abroad. People are being paid by TikTok, people are being paid by Instagram, people are being paid by Facebook. Why are we not being paid by these platforms here? That will give an opportunity to, especially the young and upcoming creators who don't have brands yet, to have a little bit of money to sustain themselves, and through that be able to grow the industry. So I don't know, tax them, tell them if they don't monetize this thing, you're going to ban it, something.
Yeah.
I'll give you some ideas of how you can do it. But basically, these ways to monetize the platforms will be really, really great for the creators.
That is why I am, the moderator has allowed me to respond on that. That is why I am strong on professionalizing content creation, and that is why I'm a member of that board, because I'm a content creator, and it's honestly sad that content creators from Europe, US are being paid on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook, but that is not applicable in the country. So far, there is some progress with Facebook. We're going to be choosing for the first 11 individuals to be monetized, and hopefully from that there will be a lot more coming.
Okay, maybe you can add me in the list.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the audience for attending. Thank you Kalasha. Thank you KFC. Thank you to the panelists. Tupigieni makofi kidogo. Hawa watu wamejaribu kuongea. Ndio. Thank you so much. And if you are a budding content creator, please go for it. Go for it. It's one of the best fields to be in. And tafadhali. Thank you so much. Asante sana.
So we want a photo of you guys sitting and then standing.
Okay.
Wenzo funo ni mwera mova.
Unaandamania nani?
Ile serikali iliwanyima kazi na ikawanyima kiongozi mwenye wali.
Hatujaipata leader in Kenya mwenye anashughulikia youth.
The boss says the shoot to kill order continues.
I swear to God, I did not kill that child.
Get your filthy hands off me!
Unajua ni polisi.
Lakini unajua kwa hii country mnyonge ana haki.
Mimi sina shida na nani amekuwa rais. Shida yangu kubwa ni watu innocent watazidi kufa mpaka lini?
Hapa kwa street hakuna mtu innocent.
Since when the 6-month-old child go to the streets to riot?
Si kila mtu ameuliwa na polisi uletwa hapa. Wengine utupwa.
Wapi?
Sijui. Labda kwa lake.
After considering the evidence tendered before this honorable court by both the prosecution and the defense, this court finds
Tayari kupanda. Situpigie show. Hapa pale lefti. Kuna trials tulipiga last weekend. Leo tunaenda kuambia kama tumepenya ama tumeogelea.
And that is why he was my top pick for the strikers representing the Kenyan team in Norway.
Umesema Norway tunaingia na ndege ya saa ngapi?
Promise utanisahau.
If only I had the last say.
Nenda Brazil kuongezwa haga ama?
Mara 4 coaches nimetolewa nyama kwa mdomo. Kwenda huko. Mimi niondokea. Unajua lazima nisurvive huku nje kasisi. Alafu situation yangu pale mtaani tricky.
Niliambia spita wangu kama hajakuja dialysis. It's been 11 days.
This is weird, but imagine mimi sitakujaji.
Cheki bro, unaweza ku audition fit sana kwa kikosi yako.
I'm killing these bitches, nakwambia I'm killing these bitches. Missy your copy, missy your copy, missy your copy, missy your copy.
Nitume hata sidi yangu ati, nitakuja nikuwekea to watch.
Missy your copy, missy your copy, missy your copy, missy your copy. Tanifitisho tumezoea, missy your copy, missy your copy, missy your copy, missy your copy, missy your copy.
Kulikuwa umesiti kwa rasa.
The local creative industry remains vibrant and always supporting Kenya Film Commission initiatives.
Kenya's film industry is experiencing commendable growth and is receiving international recognition.
I'm committed to creating an enabling environment for the film industry to thrive in our city.
The market, therefore, will ensure further stakeholder participation as we continue to share knowledge, learnings, experiences with and from international film players.
Our Kenyan producers and our South African and particularly Eastern Cape producers ought to be talking.
We need to have a proper legislative framework that promotes investment in the sector. Have proper policies put in place, policies that will be able to promote investment.
If the government can find the land, we will find the private investors to put up studios.
I wish to end with words of congratulations to the Kenya Film Commission for hosting this important event and bringing together the diverse actors for timely conversation on the film industry.
Unaandamania nani?
Ile serikali iliwanyima kazi na ikawanyima kiongozi mwenye wali.
Hatujaipata leader in Kenya mwenye anashughulikia youth.
The boss says the shoot to kill order continues.
I swear to God, I did not kill that child.
Nataka mtoto wangu! Nataka mtoto wangu! Get your filthy hands off me!
Tunajua ni polisi, lakini tunajua kwa hii country mnyonge ana haki. Mimi sina shida na nani amekuwa rais. Shida yangu kubwa ni watu innocent watazidi kufa mpaka lini?
Hapa kwa street hakuna mtu innocent.
Since when the 6-month-old child go to the streets to riot? Si kila mtu ameuliwa na polisi uletwa hapa. Wengine hutupwa.
Wapi?
Sijui. Labda kwa lake.
After considering the evidence tendered before this honorable court by both the prosecution and the defense, this court finds
tayari kupanda, situpige show.
Hapa pa left.
Kuna trials tulipiga last weekend. Leo ndo tunaenda kuambia kama tumepenya ama tumeogelea.
And that is why he was my top pick for the strikers representing the Kenyan team in Norway.
Umesema Norway tunaingia na ndege ya saa ngapi?
Utanisahau.
If only I had the last say.
Nenda Brazil kuongezwa haga ama?
Mara 4 coaches nimetolewa nyama kwa mdomo. Kwenda huko.
Unaandamania nani?
Ile serikali iliwanyima kazi na ikawanyima kiongozi mwenye wali.
Hatujaipata leader in Kenya mwenye anashughulikia youth.
The boss says the shoot to kill order continues.
I swear to God I did not kill that child.
Nataka mtoto wangu! Nataka mtoto wangu! Get your filthy hands off me!
Unajua ni polisi, lakini unajua kwa hii country mnyonge ana haki. Mimi sina shida na nani amekuwa rais. Shida yangu kubwa ni watu innocent watazidi kufa mpaka lini?
Hapa kwa street hakuna mtu innocent.
Since when the 6-month-old child go to the streets to riot?
Si kila mtu ameuliwa na polisi uletwa hapa. Wengine utupwa.
Wapi?
Sijui. Labda kwa lake.
After considering the evidence tendered before this honorable court by both the prosecution and the defense, this court finds
tayari kupanda. Situpige show.
Hapa pale lefti.
Kuna trials tulipiga last weekend. Leo ndo tunaenda kuambia kama tumepenya ama tumeogelea.
And that is why he was my top pick